Okay, week 13 speed work begins with a transition in our ladder work here. To this point, we've called everything quickness ladders. Now this is what we call an agility ladder. So far, for quickness ladders, the focus has been on soft feet, quick feet, with very little force production or change direction until you actually left the ladder. Now with agility ladder, we're incorporating more change direction, more east to west movement here. So to prepare for that, we got to prepare our body to be able to decelerate well before we can decelerate, change direction effectively. So what you're going to see here, this is called Icky wide. In this case, it'll be Icky wide left. So he's going to be quickness on the right side of the ladder, wide on the left. We're going to hold the outside there for about a second. Decelerate, hold, quick on the right, and decelerate on the left. And we're just working on stabilizing on the outside there, being able to decelerate well, because again, you've got to be able to reduce force before you can actually produce force. Then we'd also use a reverse Icky wide here, using the same pattern here. In this case, there's an Icky wide to the right, and we'll decelerate on the right, quick on the left, decelerate on the right. Again, this is all in preparation for our agility patterns on the ladder. Okay, now once we've accomplished that and you feel good about the way that they're landing and decelerating and stabilizing, we'd actually like to hold those decelerations for about a second before we went back in. But once you feel good about that, you're going to move on to the Icky shuffle for agility. So we've done this for quickness again, but now for agility, we're really going to work a lot of east to west movement. We want to get 2 to 3 feet outside the ladder on each side, so you're thinking about cutting each time you change direction here. So there's really wide, that's good. On the outside, notice there's a cut on the outside. If you can add arm action, you do. If you're not comfortable with it, you just stay without it until you get more comfortable with the pattern. But again, the idea there is that you're changing direction instead of just moving with a quiet body down the ladder. We would also take that in reverse here. Here's a reverse Icky shuffle for agility. Real wide on both sides, cutting. You notice the foot gets out the side of the hips. We plant and we redirect back in. These are definitely more intense than where your quickness patterns, because there's much more muscle activity here as you work to decelerate, stabilize, and re-accelerate and change the direction. For your speed training for week 13, your first drill is it's labeled left. That stands for lower extremity fitness test. We're using a 10-yard gap right here, and in doing so, we're going to execute 70 yards worth of work. There's going to be a sprint followed by a back. Here's the sprint action. You change direction to a back pedal. Now we change direction to a shuffle, back to a karaoke, to a karaoke. When you hit that line, you turn in sprint. So that's 70 yards worth of work right there. It's very intense. It's working on your ability to accelerate in many different directions, your ability to change direction. The best times I get there are usually in the 16-second range. I have had some of the 15 seconds. So if you want to clock that, the most elite athletes I've had are high 15, low 16 in that one. That one, you definitely want to allow for enough recovery time in between sets, because it's very demanding. I usually get maybe 3 or 4 good sets, and I call it a day on that one. The next one here is a partner reaction mirror. Now for me showing this right here, I can't really show it effectively. This one's pretty simple though. I would line him up here. If I'm his partner, we'd have about a 15-yard gap, and for 10 seconds, he would be mirroring my movement. So if I'm working here and I sprint, he's following me. He's trying to stay right on my belly button here. If I change, he's coming back. He's trying to stay right on me here. And so in that one right there, the objective is for the guy, in this case it was me, the rabbit, I was trying to shake him, change direction within my 15-yard gap. He's trying to center me up, stay right on my belly button here, because we've trained a lot of predictable patterns here for agility, but it's a different animal when your body has to react and doesn't know the next step. So this is very key, that once we've trained predictable patterns and move on to more reactionary patterns where the body's got to adapt to a reactionary change direction. That'll conclude week 13 speed work, your conditioning work. You're going to run time 10s. You'll follow the chart for recovery time. In that one, of course, we are trying to create fatigue and continue to sprint on fatigue there. Unlike the ladder work and the speed training, we want to allow recovery. Conditioning, it's very minimal. Moving on to week 14, we'll go back to the ladder here, continuing our theme of agility work on the ladder. But we're going to add exits to this. So this is going to be a linear sprint exit. Again, these should be familiar patterns to you. I'm going to pull him up probably just a halfway through the ladder. You know, right here you might want to work 5, 10-yard ladders. Again, I'm just going to sample this. So he's going to use that agility Icky shuffle where he's changing direction side to side. There's the Icky Shuffle, side to side, and then sprint out of there. Again, that's about a 10-yard sprint out. You would also perform that in reverse. Just for the sake of the clock here, I'm not going to have them do it in reverse, but you would also, when you do perform that in reverse, you'll obviously be making a reverse turn out of there, turning over your left shoulder or right shoulder. I would rep that out to both sides, having them exit out of there, turning left shoulder to sprint out or right shoulder, and noticing where their flaws may be. We'd also use the crossover agility pattern here. We're again working side to side, same concepts, a lot of change direction there, and then we'd sprint out of there. We would back that up by doing a reverse crossover. I will have them show this just so you don't get confused on what a reverse crossover is. Remember, you're still doing a crossover pattern, but you're just working in reverse. There's the crossover pattern, and when he gets to the end, he'll turn. In that case right there, he turned right shoulder and exit out. You may want to dictate that, say this is a right shoulder exit or a left shoulder exit. The last ladder one for today will be the cross under agility pattern. And we'll perform the getting the hips under. Remember, a lot of change direction there. Exit out. Remember, that's different than just a quickness pattern. That's a lot of change direction there. And of course, you would perform that with a cross under. We'll show this one just so there's no confusion here. We'll just do about half the ladder. Crossing under, crossing under, crossing under, changing direction real big. Turning out right there, you notice he turned left shoulder there. So mix up the shoulders so they're not programmed to just one side. For your speed training for week 14, we're going to start with a multi-planar reaction sprint. This one's very simple. We'll line them up. In this case right here, I'll have him face me. He knows that he's going left or right, but he doesn't know which way he's going and he doesn't know when he's going. So this is basically here, he's going to be active. He's not going to get static and he's going to react to me. That was a hand motion there. You can do verbal cues, visual cues. Now, in that case right there, I gave him a visual cue. But you can say left, right, or move your left hand or move your right hand. So you would rep that several times because right there we're training baseball speed. Not just the ability to sprint 10 yards, but the ability to react, start, and accelerate for those 10 yards when you don't really know the path. In the case of maybe getting a jump on a fly ball or getting a read on a pitcher there's definitely a value to train the ability to react and accelerate because don't take it for granted that it's in there. Once you've done left to right, you can do forward and back like right here. He would line up, he's active, he's dynamic, he's not getting static, and he'd wait for me to point him back. In that case, I point him back, he turned and sprinted back. You can point him forward, point him back. You can say forward, back, give him both verbal and visual cues on that one. The second speed drill for week 14 is the L drill. So for the L drill, we'll come over here. You see here's your L set up here. It's 5 yards forward. That's 5 yards over. Notice as you look down right here, you're going to see a gate because he's got to finish through that gate. Now to run this the way the pros do at the combine, you would touch right hand, right foot. I'll have him go just kind of half speed here. You start, right hand, right foot, right hand, right foot. And then so that's how our starting pattern would be. Now, once you do the forward and back, once that's established, he's going to go inside the L. So here's our sprint. Right hand, right foot. Right hand, right foot. He's going to go around the L, inside the L, and then finish through that gate. Very important that he can sprint through that gate. So again, the path, sprint your 5 yards forward. Now you can mix it up, maybe go left hand, left foot. That's just how they do it at the combine. Sprint, foot and hand touch, sprint back to start, foot and hand touch, go. Then go through the L, around, inside the L, around the L, and here's me coming back through my gate right here as I sprint through the finish. Now here, really good on this one would be a high 6, low to mid 7. That's considered to be very good for the L drill. Expect a lot of your guys to be in the 7s and maybe even low 8s. For your conditioning for week 14, you'll move on to the 20s, again using the chart as you sprint and use the recovery times.